could in some areas. I noticed coming in, the underbuild utility may want to look at doing some trimming by the underbuild, but I think our transmission conductor is pretty much in the clear. But good question, and I asked that question earlier.
Yeah. What about, what working relationship do you have with the Dairyland? Dairyland, I understood, had equipment down on the cross that could have gotten here very quickly, and but apparently, I don't know if this is true or not, ITC said, no, you cannot come up here.
I talked to Ben Porath, who's the Director of System Operations at Dairyland Power Cooperative this morning, and we had that conversation, and he told me that, or I said to him, I said, my field coordinator said that we contacted Dairyland and asked whether or not there was any track-driven equipment available. And he said, absolutely, we don't have any available. I said, are you aware of any request that was, or an offer made that was declined or anything? He said no. But we work storm restoration projects. In fact, I'm going to sit down next week in Dubuque with some of our folks and some of Dairyland's folks from a planning perspective and talk about some planning related issues. So we do have an open working relationship.
Could there be a shifting of some equipment so that you have some here and then some maybe on the other end, as in La Crosse or in that area, so that there's a balance there where equipment
is the problem that the equipment was being used?
Well,
it's like it just happened to be over here, and
yeah. Let me share a little bit about this.
Because that's the thing. It's not like you were using this stuff.
Let me share a little bit more about this fabulous track drive equipment that I keep bringing up, and I've got some pictures floating around here. A normal, what I would just call a bucket truck that we have, they're much larger than a distribution utility would use. Our buckets have an arm that will reach 100 feet in the air, and it's so big that you've got the equivalent of a semi with a long chassis, and about all this truck can carry is the boom itself, the truck, the cab, the chassis, and the wheels. We don't laden that truck further with toolboxes because there's already so much weight on it. That truck is about $250,000. The track drive equivalent of that truck is north of $800,000. So when you start talking about we should have this equipment distributed far and wide, we own a track drive bucket and a track drive digger. We own that pair. They tour around a lot. We also rent a track drive bucket and a track drive digger. They move around a lot. We have to strike a balance between having enough equipment to do the jobs in the places where we need to do the jobs with, geez, you guys got 42 of those track drive buckets. Don't you realize at $850,000 that's going to drive your rates up? So we have to strike that balance. Right now, we think we're close. So fair question, but we really are sensitive to costs and what it takes to run our business. And as I said before, in an ideal situation, that equipment may have been sitting in Mason City, Iowa, or Albert Lee, Minnesota at our warehouse, another 2 hours closer. So, but that equipment always moves, always.
Would anybody in the audience like to ask a question? Mr. Klunkman, start with you.
Yeah.
I had a couple questions. Number one, do you audit your poles on what's your cycle on that?
Audit our poles.
Go around and look at the condition of the poles. How often do you do that?
We inspect, or what we call a line patrol. We patrol everything every year, and we do flying patrols in addition to that.
That pole was in kind of sad shape. How was it rated on your last line?
That I don't know. I can tell you the majority of that line coming down, that tap line, the majority of that line is new. And some of those poles may be older because they're in a tougher spot to get to.
Yeah, well, this one is in pretty sad shape to start with.
Okay.
Second question is, don't you guys have a temporary connection you can put up?
A temporary connection?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if all from.
Well, from the preceding pole to the after pole, a temporary run.
It's going to require the same type of equipment to get in there and do that.
Okay.
and we have to do all that work cold. We have to have that line off. That's not hot work. So we could have, it would have been counterproductive to string around it and then go in and build the new pole, because it would have been cold. We wouldn't have been able to heat that line up. Fair question, but in this
Well, I mean, the
case,
thing is, you can hook it up quickly, and then you'll have the time for coolers and stuff like that to come back up for a few hours, and then plan an outage to put the pole back in.
there would have probably been 2 outages of nearly the same duration because of where it was and what it took to get down there. Very, very challenging terrain. I know there would have been 2 outages. Would they have both been 18, 20 hours? I don't know, but they would have still been 2 appreciable outages. So. Did you have a question? Yeah.
Nan, go ahead.
After speaking to a lot of fellow businesses in town today and yesterday, I think the largest frustration that we were facing was, for us, how to prepare. Like, a lot of the restaurants wanted to know how long the power outage was gonna be, because there wasn't a whole lot of communication given. And so my question to you is, what time did you assess the situation, and was that information then communicated to City Hall? I just was wondering if there was that status report type thing given.
There were a number of phone calls throughout the day.
Okay.
And one thing that we don't want to do is step over a community's leadership and or a community's municipal utility or a distribution company and go basically right past them and say, here's what's really going on. I think we're more than happy to work in concert with your council, with your mayor, with your administrator, your utility director, and help to form any kind of communication plan, and however we need to support that, we're happy to do that. So if there's some fine-tuning opportunities there, let's get together and do it.
Right, so.
And I
just
think
to
you had indicated
clarify-
about that too.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, because I came in a little late, but just to clarify, did you contact City Hall to give them the status report when you knew how long it was gonna take? That this would be into the late hours of the day?
Yeah, we had, I think we had a handful of communications throughout the day. I know I talked to the mayor a couple of times.
We got briefed at 1 o'clock, and at that time, we were thinking 6 o'clock.
Yeah, and what I was being told
And
from
it
the
got pushed
field.
back, a couple of times
Yeah,
since
yeah,
then, because
and
it was,
what I was
just,
told-
like I said, it was just hard.
Yeah.
It was a hard place to get to.
Yeah, and our field coordinator on the ground is a seasoned foreman. I worked with him at another utility. When ITC Midwest came up, we both took the opportunity to come and work at the transmission level. Paul did I think a very good job. He's a very safe individual, and that's what comes first in our industry. If you don't have safety, you might as well go home.